If you're someone who has issues with saying no because you care about the feelings of other people, you don't want to disappoint them, you don't want to hurt their feelings, you care too much about the feelings of others, and you don't know how to say no, even when you should say no. And in the long run, you are the one who is hurting, you are the one who is facing the inconvenience, you are the one who is bearing all of the pain just because you chose to displease yourself and then please somebody else. What do you do? How do you bring yourself to learn how to say no? This is what we're talking about in today's video. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sophia, and on this channel I talk about faith, lifestyle and relationships. If these are the kind of content you like, you're interested in, you like to engage, you like to listen to, please hit the subscribe button and then turn on your notification. I always upload new videos on Saturdays. So guys, today we'll be talking about a very important topic: how to say no without actually saying the word no. The word no is a word that a lot of us associate with negativity. Things like disappointment, rejection, disapproval, displeasure, and ultimately we see the word no as that word that closes a door to an opportunity we would have had, we would have maximized, if only the person we're asking help from granted us that request. If they did not decline our request, would have had so and so opportunity. And so no is that word that a lot of us don't like to hear, either when we are making a request or we are offering something and the other person doesn't want it. So no is like, it's not a friendly word. And the truth is, it's not just hearing no that is a challenge to people. Saying no, bringing yourself to say no sometimes is also a challenge for some people, especially people who are very empathetic, who are very compassionate, who are very considerate about the feelings of others. They're very, very careful not to hurt the feelings of other people. Saying no can be a big problem for such people. This is why we have to talk about this problem and find a solution to it very fast, because even me, a homie, I'm on this table. Oh yes, I'm on this table. There are some unpleasant situations or circumstances that we found ourselves in that could have been avoided if only we said no. But then for some of us, saying no is not exactly something that's very easy for us to do. We just cannot bring ourselves to say no. It's either because we don't want to hurt the feelings of other people, or we don't want to disappoint them. Alright, not to mention that we don't want to be tagged the bad guy, the person that did not allow this thing happen. We don't want people to judge us and tag us as wicked or harsh or unkind, things like that. So these things, we consider them so much that we're like, I can't just say no. We want to say no, but we don't know how to bring ourselves to say no. When it comes to this subject of saying no, we have three categories of people. First, we have the unapologetic. We have people that, saying no is not their problem, as long as it doesn't align with their values. They are not in a comfortable or convenient place to render that service or grant that favor or that request. They are going to say no, and they are not going to feel bad about it. They just know that this thing is a no, and they go ahead to say no. They don't care about how you feel. They can be very cold, they can be very extreme. If you want to go and hit your head on the wall because they said no, go and hit your head on the wall. This thing doesn't work for me, and I'm not going to pretend like it works for me. So we have your unapologetic. You just say no because it's a no. Secondly, we have the people pleasers. For these people, they are all about people. When they arrange their priorities, they put themselves last all the time. Now, I have to say this, talking about this second category of people, when it comes to the issue of saying no, there are times where we willingly decide to inconvenience ourselves because of others. On your priority list as an individual, you are not going to always put your needs first at all times. There are times you're going to put your needs first, you're going to prioritize your needs first. There are times like that, okay? There are times where you're going to be somewhere in the middle on your priority list. And there are times where you are gladly, even though it's going to hurt you, you gladly put yourself, at the last position on your priority list. That is called sacrifice. Okay, so there are times where we have situations, or we find ourselves in situations or circumstances that are unpleasant, that are unfavorable, that are not really convenient for us, but then we willingly decide to be in these circumstances or situations, because we have an understanding of sacrifice. It is for a greater good, it is for a greater win. All right, just like the Bible says in, I think, is it Proverbs, Psalms, yes, Psalms 124, I think the last verse 6, it says, they that sow in tears will reap in joy. So especially in the life of a believer, there are always times where we are required, where we have to take that giant step to sow in tears. All right, so on your priority list, you will not always be at the you can't that's when you say someone is selfish, when they are always number one on their priority list. There are times you have to shift, yourself, sometimes in the middle, sometimes last position, depending on what level of sacrifice you are required to put forward at that time. So we have the people pleasers. For these particular people, they put themselves last all of the time. Yeah, they are all about pleasing people. Their lives is for people. Sometimes it's detrimental to their well-being, it's detrimental to their own personal interest and goals. Times where you're like, okay, the resources are not really there, but willingly I'm going to sacrifice. I understand this is sacrifice. But people pleasers is not like that. Everything, every time, every situation is, just yes. They keep saying yes. That is also on another extreme. Such people cannot bring themselves to say no. And that's because somewhere in their minds, they're like, if I say no, that means I'm a bad person. If I say no, that means I'm a wicked person. I'm unkind. I'm harsh. I'm strict. And people don't want to be perceived as all of these things. So they go ahead and say yes, even when, it's detrimental to their own interests. And then there's the third category of people who are balanced individuals. They are they say no, but then they do it with respect. See, it takes a lot of courage for somebody to walk up to you and ask you for help. It does. You see, not everybody, even when they are dying, can bring themselves to ask for help. There are certain people that would rather turn, round a filling station 10 times looking for an address than stop and ask somebody for help. People don't, it's not everybody that can just, walk up to other people and say, please, can you help me? Some people, they look at it to be kind of a sign of weakness or something. So, talking about these people who are balanced individuals when it comes to saying no, they are not unapologetic in terms of being cold, being on that extreme where they don't care about your feelings. Neither are they people pleasers who will just say yes and not consider their own capacity at that time. They are just somewhere in the middle. They know how to respect the feelings of people, all right, but at the same time, they are not going to just place your own interest above their own all of the time. They know when to say yes, they know when to say no, and when they say no, they make it very respectful, they make it very polite, and most importantly, they might not even get to use the word no, but they are actually telling you no. Here are ways that we can say no without actually saying the word no. Number one, I would love to do that for you, but now is not such a good time for me. Now, for this point, you are letting the person know that you would love to help them, but the timing is off. Time is a constraint on your own part. You would love to do that for them, but you are not just in that space to do it, either because the time is not there or the resources to help them with whatever they are requesting for is not there. Number two, I'm so sorry, but I have got a lot of other commitments right now, or I have a lot of other things on my hands, and I don't want to say yes to you and end up disappointing you. Now, for this point, you're letting the person know that there are other things that demand your time, your attention, your resources, And it's better to let them know from the beginning that you are not going to be able to meet up rather than say yes and then disappoint them. I remember one time there was a friend, someone who I would call a sister. She wanted to launch this prayer group, and then she reached out to me, and then she told me, "Oh, I would love to do this, and I want you to be part of it. I want you to, come on the platform and all of that." Already, I belong to a lot of prayer groups on WhatsApp. I belong to, my commitments are in so many other places. I told her that, okay, just give me some time, let me think about it. But really, I knew that I would not be able to meet up. I didn't just want to say outright no. It will look like, I don't want to be part of what you are doing. But then I think the next day, I just had to reply her that, look, I don't want to say yes and, end up not showing up, just being in the group, not active, and for this, I would beg to decline. And that was it. It was just that simple. There's this story in the Bible where Jesus talks about the parable of two people who were sent on an assignment. The master sent the first person, and the person was like, "All correct, sir. I'm on my way. In fact, consider it done." You know, he gave the master the impression that he was up to the task, he could do it, and in fact, he was on his way to do it. But at the end of the day, he didn't go. Whereas there was somebody else the master sent, that was the second person, and the person was like, "I'm not going." I don't know what happened to that guy on that day. Maybe he was not motivated enough. There are days on your job where you are just tired. You just feel like it's not your day, or probably you've thought too much and you're not just excited about anything. So this servant said, "Okay, I'm not going," and he just walked off. But somewhere in his mind, he had a second thought and then changed his mind and went to do that thing. So some of us, we are like that first servant. When people ask us for something, we're not in that space. We cannot meet up. Right now, there are some of us with crazy schedules that we cannot meet up. We are trying to battle handling 10 things when we know that right now the capacity we have is just to handle 3. And then we handle 3 out of 10 things, and instead of us to feel good for those 3 things that we are able to do well, we are feeling miserable about the 7 other things that we were not able to meet up with. Why not just compress all of your energy, your time, your focus, and do 3 things, and know that these things you are doing them well. Like the Bible says, what is worth doing is worth doing well. So whenever your hands are full and somebody else is asking or requesting, for a favor or making a request, and you know that really you cannot meet up, it is always good, rather than put so much pressure on yourself, it's always good to let them know that, look, I'm so sorry, I would love to do this, but right now I'm committed to other things. I have a lot of commitments on my hand. My hands are full. Let them know, rather than saying yes. Some of you are caterers, you have 10 jobs in one Saturday, and somebody is bringing the 11th job, you are still accepting it, and then you start doing rebobo that Holy Spirit should, I don't know, make some magic happen so you'll be able to meet up with all 11. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes, even for tailors, people, you are a worker. Either you are someone who is an entrepreneur, you're someone who is you're into skills, maybe you bake or whatever. When your hands are full, know how to say no. Alright, don't say yes and end up disappointing people. Don't say yes and then you're hoping for one magic to happen. Something should fall from the sky. From the beginning, let the person know that I would love to do this, but I'm sorry, my hands are full. My commitments are already, allocated to other places, and I will not be able to meet up. Number 3, thank you for the offer, but I'm afraid I won't be able to accept this. And then let me just do number 4, so I talk about both together. Number 4, this is really great, but I'm afraid I cannot afford that right now. See, some of us, we would use, I think it's my husband that says that a lot. He said, you don't use shame to eat poison. If something is not within your scope of your budget, rather than be in debt, rather than, see the person coming and then taking another road, just let the person know, I cannot afford that right now. For some of us, we desire some things. Of course, everybody we have desires. Okay, there was a time on my phone I had over 10,000 screenshots of dresses, of shoes, perfumes, bags, books, even gadgets for my YouTube. I was just screenshotting anything I just like. I'll just screenshot. I'm like, when I have money, I'll buy. When I have money, I'll buy. When I wanted to move some of my items to, I think, my system, or I can't remember. I wanted to do something. I was seeing my pictures. I was like, God, when did I take all of these pictures? Even me, I'm not a picture person in terms of standing, in front of a camera taking pictures. I'm not really into pictures. So how come I have almost 15,000 pictures? And when I started going through, I was saying that it was just screenshots of things I liked, I saw, I wanted to buy. I was like, okay, when I have money, I'll buy them. So this just goes to say that we all have desires, we have plans. We don't like the 13. We like good stuff, all right. But then when we are not capable, we don't have the capacity, financial capacity to afford certain things, don't enslave yourself, all right. Sometimes we know that this phone or this gadget or this bag or whatever, I really am not in that place that I can afford it right now. See, there are some people that we are competing with. The things they are buying, the stuff they are getting for themselves, they are doing it from a place of convenience. They are not thinking twice before they buy that bag. All right. They are not having sleepless nights about how they are going to pay the next installment for that camera. They are not thinking. They are doing these things from a place of convenience. Sometimes they may not even have all the money. They are doing it based on commitment. Commitment that, okay, I'm earning so amount, and every month I'm going to be allocating this. You are not in that financial space to make such a decision. So if somebody, no matter how somebody is presenting, oh, I sell perfumes, I sell bags, I sell this, if you cannot afford it, just let them know that for now, I cannot afford it. And be unapologetic about it. There's no shame in saying, I cannot afford this. I saw a post one time on Facebook when they were like, people from other countries, when they cannot afford something, they just outrightly say, oh, it's not within my budget, I can't afford that right now. But Nigerians will say, well, they come back, and they will never come back. So it's not a crime to say no when you cannot afford something. So this is beautiful. Wow, it's a nice dress, but I'm afraid I cannot afford that right now. I'm afraid it's not within my budget. You are saying no without actually saying the word no. And then if it's an offer, for instance, maybe a job, just like I talked about in the second point, where your hands are full, thank you for the offer. Maybe somebody referred you for a job and all of that, but you know that you cannot meet up. Thank you for the offer. I'm so grateful, but I'm afraid I cannot accept this. It's not every time you can accept something. If you cannot accept it, let the person know. They won't kill you. Number 5, I am happy you like this, or I'm happy it works for you, but this is not just my thing, or it's not my area of strength. It's not something I'm interested in. Sometimes we have friends or even partners in your relationship, or spouses, and the thing is, it's not compulsory that I'm going to like what you like. We all have different areas of interest. You like something, it's not compulsory that I'm going to like it. And so sometimes somebody can just say, okay, where are you? Let's hang out. Let us go swimming. And you don't like water. You don't like, you don't just like something about that request the person is making. You don't need to force yourself. Again, like I said, there are times of sacrifice, all right? There are times where you're like, okay, let me go out of my way. This is my friend. I don't really like this, but I'm deciding. It's willing, it's coming from your mind. Let me just decide to do this for them. And you are doing that from a place of understanding, of sacrifice. That's different. This one, you don't want to do it. You don't like it, but you just cannot bring yourself to say no. Listen, you cannot like what other people like. You can't force yourself to like it. They don't also have to impose their interests on you or make you feel funny for not liking what they like. Everybody, we all like different things. And so always let people know, I'm glad this works for you, I'm glad you like it, but for me, it's not exactly my thing, it's not exactly what I love to do, you know. And that's it. So if you are in that space where you're like, okay, I want to make this sacrifice for my friend, by all means do so. But then if you are not really into it, you don't need to force yourself and pretend like you are into it. Just let them know that it's not your thing, it's not something that works for you. Finally, number 6. Wow, I'm so happy for you, but I will not be able to meet up. Listen, it's better to let somebody know that you might not meet up with their occasion rather than give them assurance that you're going to make it and then end up not making it. All right. There are many times where people have invited me something and I'm checking my schedule, work, I'm checking other commitments, and I'm like, I'm not promising I will try to be there. It's better to let them know that you will try. And then when you don't show up, they know that, okay, you said you were going to try. Rather than tell them that, look, I'm going to wear, that my list that we made that time. That's what I'm going to wear. They already have a pictorial image in their mind of how you're going to show up for their event, how you're going to, be there for them. And then on that day or a day before that day, you're calling them and saying, well, something came up. I'm not saying that things cannot come up, all right? We've all been in situations where we are like, okay, my schedule is clear, I can meet up, and then really on that day or a day before something comes up, but I'm saying that, we are just stop projecting what you cannot do. That's my point in all of this whole video. That's what I'm saying. What you do not have the strength or the capacity to do not force yourself. Do not project to people that you can when you can't. And so if you know that, there's a probability that you will not be able to make it, let the person know from the beginning, I'm so happy for this event. I'm so happy on your baby dedication. I'm happy for your wedding. I'm happy. Let them know you're happy. But then if you're not going to meet up, or if you know that your schedule at that time is really kind of full, or there's a probability that you might, something might come up, just let them know that I will try. Don't give them 100% assurance and then end up disappointed. I'm sure you know that anybody that wants to host you, whenever they are making their plans, especially if the person respects you and honors you, that person is including you in their plans. The food they want to make, the accommodation, whatever it is, they are including you. So imagine that it's your friend, they've gone all out to, make such provision for you to be comfortable, and then you're calling them, telling them you're not going to show up. Money wasted, all their efforts to waste. That's not good enough. So from the beginning, if you know there's a probability that you will not be able to meet up, it's good to let the person know from the beginning that I'm so happy, thank you for the invitation, but I may not be able to make it. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button and then turn on your notification so that when I upload new content, you'll be the first to know. Also, let me know in the comment section if you have issues with saying no, and then how you bring yourself to say no. Like, how do you do it? How do you overcome this? Let me know in the comment section other ways by which you can say no to people without actually using the word no. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye.